Hello, I'm Stephen K Amos, and welcome to my new podcast series, Me, I Blame the Parents. I'm talking to my contemporaries, the children of the silent generation and the baby boomers, our mums and dads who were born between 1928 and 1960. The same folks who keep reminding us they grew up on the cusp of the Second World War, with no colour television, no internet, and let's face it, they let us get on with it, with no regard for health and safety legislation. Not to be confused with the millennials, who by all accounts know nothing at all. My guests will be talking about their parents, and I want to find out if there are any traits or similarities that connect us all. My guest today is an award-winning comedy writer. She's written for big-name comedy stars like Graham Norton and Jimmy Carr, as well as for countless TV and radio shows. I spoke to her during lockdown and asked her how she felt.
It makes me feel like I'm in retirement. You're just really obsessed with when you're going to have your meals. Well, now it's 3 o'clock and now this is when I have a cup of tea.
And her dad's childhood remedy for when she was feeling poorly.
If we were sick, he wouldn't bother taking us to the doctor. He would just give us animal drugs.
So, there may be something that resonates with you. Please welcome Christine Rose.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you? How's your lockdown?
Do you know, it's funny you should say that, because this is where the idea for this podcast came. Because in the second lockdown, my dad, who's 82, came and stayed with me for about 4 weeks. And I've got to say, I had no idea up until that point that he stayed with me that he is a bit of a knobhead. He is just unbelievable. I couldn't believe. He was asking me to make breakfast for him, which consisted of a very rich cheese on toast on a regular basis.
Cheese on toast for breakfast? Wow.
Yes.
Decadent.
I've lived with it. I've lived with this man. I've never ever seen him have cheese on fucking toast. Yeah, in my house.
Yeah, he's on holiday. We always do weird things on holiday.
I was cooking for him. I cleaned for him. He sat there like Lord Mutt. It was so disappointing. How was yours?
Yeah, same. Sort of first time around, it's a bit of a novelty. But it reminded me of my parents, actually, because it makes me feel like I'm in retirement. And I think a lot of people have that feeling where you sort of don't really have anything to do. Your world has suddenly got a lot smaller and you're just really obsessed with when you're going to have your meals. You know, I used to go and visit my parents, and my dad's sadly no longer with us. When I used to go and visit him, and I would say something like, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And it would be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He would look at me like I was absolutely mental. And he would go, "I have my tea at 4. And I'd be like, sorry for messing with the system. You know, very, very set in the ways. And I feel I'm getting a bit like that in lockdown. And just a bit like, well, now it's 3 o'clock and now this is when I have a cup of tea.
One of my things is watching real-life murder documentaries.
Oh, yes, I'm with you on that. Love it.
And I actually Google alongside
I do that as well,
I thought, is this sad? And then my dad really got into it. And, when you watch the programmes, they'd have the reenactments with the actors, and then at the end, they do maybe the court scene where the accused is on trial. And my dad was watching one with me about midnight, and it got to that end of the programme where they have the accused about to be sentenced, and my dad, a proud Nigerian man, just goes, look, they have got the wrong man. This is not the man we saw earlier. I'm like, Dad, what are you talking about? they were actors. This is the actual real man now. I said, there's not a film crew following murders around on the off chance. And, oh my God.
Me and my sister watch so much true crime when we go to my mum's house that by the time we leave, she gets all scared because she's watched so many true crime cases that she's all like, better shut the curtains, better lock the back door. We just put the shit up her. We're like, bless her.
Because my dad, things I didn't spot at all. In fact, when he left my house after the second lockdown, it was really quite nice to be able to put my heating down from lava, because I had no idea that this man would just sit in a sauna in my house and wonder why he's asleep all afternoon.
Well, he's not paying for it, so he's like, crank that up.
What's the background of your dad?
He was an older dad when he had me, so he was born in 1935. He was from Essex, and he was a veterinary surgeon.
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that. I don't know why.
Oh.
That's quite... I don't know
What do you
why
think it was going to be, a scaffolder?
Well, Essex, yeah. Got any metal?
Yeah. I had scaffolding put up on my house once, and then they just didn't come and take it down. And I kept calling them, going, "Can you come and take the scaffolding down?" They were like, "Yeah, we'll do. And then I had an argument with this guy, and I said, "If you don't come and take it down, I'll take that scaffolding down myself," which was a bold thing to say, because clearly I wasn't going to do that. And he was like, if you touch my fucking scaffolding, and I was like, oh God.
And how many siblings do you have?
I've got one sister, Catherine.
One sister, older or younger?
Yeah, 5 years older, which is probably one of the reasons I work in as a comedy writer now, because I was so used to sort of sitting on my own, making up stories. Because my sister was never in, because she was 5 years older. So obviously when I was stuck at home and I was 4 and 5, my sister was, out playing with her friends, and I always wanted to go with her. So I would scream the house down, going, "I want to go!" And she would have to literally climb out the back window and over the garden wall to get away from me. So I had imaginary friends when I was young.
Oh, bless.
And when you speak to some people that also had imaginary friends, they're like, "Yeah, it's normal. It's just like it's just a good imagination as a child." And I said it to one of my friends. I was like, "Did you have an imaginary friend when you were younger?" And she went, "No, I had real friends." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I find that weird when people tell me they did have imaginary friends. I just think they're troubled children.
Thank you. My imaginary friend was called Nano Kanan and lived in the airing cupboard outside my sister's room. When my sister told her friend that my imaginary friend was called Nano Kanan, she went, "Oh, were they Eastern European?" And I was like, "What?" No, I made the name up. I don't think they were Eastern European. No, we lived in Cornwall. I don't think... It was just a made-up name.
Oh, Essex to Cornwall.
Essex to Cornwall, yes.
Do you know why that move happened?
I think being a vet, very much similar to a doctor in a way, well, obviously, but I mean, in the sense that you go where the practices need you. So you sort of follow the job, really. So he was working sort of large animal at the time, and you work with farm animals, and which is the sort of thing that you would do when you're a younger vet, because there's lots of getting up in the middle of the night and going and dealing with very large farm animals in the middle of fields. So they tend to do that when they're younger, and then if they want to move, then they'll move into maybe small animals, so then they'll be at a practice, and then you can bring your rabbits and your cats in. And so, yeah, it was a very lovely childhood, because it was lots of fields and running around outside. And
my dad's got an aversion to going to the doctor and taking his medication.
Right.
Which, for me, I find quite ironic, bearing in mind he wanted me to be a doctor. So maybe all along he just didn't want to see me. I don't know. Is that something that you can relate to, or not really?
No, because he was a vet. So, he understood medicine. He understood what you need to take medication for, what you didn't. So he was good with all of that. Although he didn't deal well with very young doctors. Because he would go in very much like, "Well, this is what's wrong with me, and I need you to give me this, this, and this." And they'd be like, "Well, we're not sure if it is that." And he'd be like, "Sure." And then they get a lecture on, "I've been practicing medicine since before you were born." But I always remember when I was a kid, if we were sick, he wouldn't bother taking us to the doctor. He would just give us animal drugs. I probably shouldn't be saying this to the outside world. But he would always say that lots of them were the same drugs, they just didn't have the flavourings and colourings to make them palatable for humans. So he said they were the same. And he'd give you a massive tablet, and then he'd be like, "Just break it up." I'm like, "Why is it so big?" And he's like, "It's for a horse, just break it up." And you're like, "Okay, are you sure?"
It's a tranquilizer.
Yeah, honestly, we'd be on long car journeys. Because we lived in Penzance, and my mum's from Edinburgh, and we used to drive it in one go from Penzance to Edinburgh. No stopping off in London for a night in a hotel. No, straight there. We're dying in the back of a car. Bleh. And you have sort of face and hand wipes and stuff when you're a kid. It was only when I was old enough to read that I realised that for years in the back of the car when you're wiping your sticky hands, my dad had been giving us cow teat wipes. I was like, "Why does this say cow teat wipe on it?" And then literally, that's the same thing. They're just sort of little clean disinfectant wipes, and you'd be like, "Ah." And obviously, when when you give an animal a drug, as a vet, you have to work out the dose based on the size of the animal. So my dad would look at me and be like, okay, about the size of 2 Labradors. So, like, oh, so, making me paranoid. I'm 2 Labradors, am I? Thank you. It's nice to know that's how you see me. I had an eye infection once, and I got this cream from the chemist, from Boots, and it made my face swell up. And I was like, oh my God. And my dad was like, use these. And I was like, says for dog use. No, use these. And it cleared up my eye infection, I swear, in like 24 hours. And there's been no ill effects for me. I mean, I do like to shit in a park, but other than that, I'm absolutely 100% fine.
See, no, yes, I can see that, Christine. There's no shit on you. Dragging yourself across the carpet.
I love to drag my ass across the carpet. Other than that, absolutely fine.
I come from a very big family. I've got 6 siblings.
Yeah,
and,
wow.
And I'm a twin, so we fall quite smack bang in the middle. And even now, looking back, I can see how my parents changed their parental behaviours and their style the more children they had.
Yeah.
Being the youngest of just 2, could you see your parents treating you both differently?
My take is, from our personalities, I feel we were treated a bit differently. Even though there was only 2 of us, by the time they got to me, they were like, yeah, do what you like. Yeah. Can I go and play on the motorway? Yeah. To be about by dark. The first one is all like, don't touch that. Don't go over there. No, you can't. And I think my sister's maybe a bit more risk adverse. She likes everyone to be happy. She likes to keep the status quo. She doesn't like people arguing. You know, she gets stressed if everything isn't good. You know, she doesn't like tension, whereas I don't mind mixing things up a bit, causing a bit of trouble. And I think there was a bit more panic around her.
Yeah,
because she was
I see
the
that
first
with my older
one.
brother as well, because he was so mollycoddled. And so me and my twin sister, we do really have that middle child syndrome where you were just in no man's land. You can imagine the horrible situation sitting around the dinner table. My mum leans to my brother, points to me and says, who is that one again? I can't remember his name. Is it Stephen? Yes.
You there, boy.
What is one of your earliest memories of your parents?
I think I've drunk so much over the years that it's probably killed off a lot of my early memories. Because my dad would get called out on call, you know, he would have a pager and would get called out to various emergencies. And if he was looking after me, you'd have to go with him. So
exciting.
Yeah, so there was a lot of kind of being dragged out to fields and having to hang around.
Good job he wasn't a long-distance driver.
Yeah, well, I've just got to drive this lorry to Holland. His car always smelt of cow shit. I always remember that. Because he was always out in fields. Even to this day, when I smell cow or horse shit, I always think of my dad.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It's lovely, isn't it?
My earliest memory, we were under 10 years of age. My parents used to leave us in the house and go to work. And lock us in the house.
Wow!
Yeah.
And then leave you some matches.
Well, you may laugh, Christine. My mum put a chicken in the oven and forgot it.
Oh, wow. And locked her kids in the house with the chicken.
And locked her kids in the house. I'm not even... So there's me and my brother sitting on the top bunk of a bunk bed.
Wow.
Coughing. Just like... with black stuff, soot in our noses. And the next thing I know, the door is kicked down. The fire brigade turn up and rescue us. It made the papers.
I mean, I've got a weird respect for your mum for the confidence of just like, yeah, they'll be all right. I want to come home to a cooked chicken.
And then we were taken to the hospital.
To meet your new parents.
Yeah, we should have been taken to social bloody services, not the bloody hospital. Do you have any memories of an incident that differs from your dad's recollection? I'll give you my example. One day, my brother and I were in the back of a Ford Escort Mark 1.
Nice.
Very old car. Yeah, the car broke down about 4 miles away from our house. Do you have any idea what my dad did?
I don't know if I can guess now. I mean, if they're putting a chicken in the oven and locking you in the house, all bets are off. God knows.
He made us push the car all the way home.
What was the point in having kids? What is the point in having kids if you cannot put them to use?
2 children pushing a car on the road. He swears blind that didn't happen. Swears blind. My brother and I remember it like it was yesterday. And my dad was in the driving seat steering it.
I love it. I mean, I remember I had to write a story when I was at primary school about my earliest memory. I made up a story about being in a cot and the cot collapsed and landed on the cat because I just thought it was funny. And I remember my granddad seeing it and being like, what? That's a lie. That never happened. In hindsight, I could have got my parents in trouble with the social services and the RSPCA at that point, just like making things up.
Do you think your dad spotted your creativity back in those early days?
I think he always found me funny. I could always make him laugh. He had a good sense of humour. Trying to make your parents laugh, I think, is early training. I think if it's something you enjoy doing, then it's sort of early training for like, okay, I sort of understand how this works now to a point. And it's quite good for testing boundaries as well, you know, when you've gone too far.
And talking about boundaries, did you have to talk with your parents?
Oh, God, no. No, thank God.
Oh.
No, that would have been horrible. I would have hated to have the talk. No, I mean, I was never allowed to have a boy stay over or anything. I mean, to be fair, I never asked because I just sort of thought, this would be awful. You know, they would never have been allowed to stay in the same room or anything. I mean, for years, my parents sort of had that whole mentality of like, you can't share a bed with somebody unless you're married. And they weren't really religious. So it wasn't like they thought the Lord was going to strike their house with lightning or anything. But, I mean, everyone has single beds anyway, so it's like... I was thinking, I read a thing the other day that said most teenagers now have double beds. So all these teenagers, like, the mad luxury of teenagers with double beds. I didn't have the talk. My mum worked in a library. So once I got to a certain age, I got given some books to read about stuff. About changes in the body and that sort of stuff. Lots of diagrams and like sort of pictures and things. But I mean, they weren't very accurate. There was no pictures of women crying and eating their own body weight in Dominoes for a week a month. This book going, you will only feel normal for 4 days a month. For the rest of the time, you'll feel mental. Like, oh, thank you, book. But I remember someone at my secondary school got pregnant. And I remember telling my mum about this. We're in the car and she went in strong on it. She was like, if you get pregnant, I'll never forgive you, like vibe. And I think she meant, you know, while I was still at school. But I'm in my 40s now and I still have no children. So that really did backfire on her.
Yeah, but she regrets it now.
Yeah.
What I found interesting with what you just said is that because you didn't actually have the talk, what was it about your parents' views on pleasures of the flesh that made you know it was not even a subject to broach?
No, I didn't feel that I couldn't bring it up. I felt that if I had questions, they would have answered them. And if we'd have talked about it in the context of animals, if I'd have said, you know, how does a cow give birth? You know, he would have been very happy to talk about that. In fact, my mum said when she gave birth to my sister... Because she was like, well, of course, in those days, the husband didn't stay with you at the hospital. So my dad dropped her off at the hospital to give birth. And he said to her, don't make a fuss, you'll scare the baby. And drove off. In fact, I remember calling him up when I was drunk once and asking him if fish have periods. Because I was having a conversation with someone and we were like, hang on a minute, do fish have periods? And we were drunk and we couldn't quite get it. So I just called my dad. And I was drunk and I was like, Dad, do fish have periods? And the sigh of disappointment in his voice. Like, he taught me nothing in life. And he just sighed and just went, for goodness sake, Christine, fish aren't mammals. And I was like, oh, yes, mammals. Got it, thank you, bye-bye.
Do you think he mellowed with age?
I don't know if he did. I think my sexist generalisation that I'm going to make is that I think women mellow after years of having to be responsible for everybody. Once they get to a certain age, they're a bit more, oh, fuck it, let's throw on a sombrero and get drunk. I think men get a bit arsey as they get older. they get more fixated on the minutiae of life and little things annoy them. My dad could lose his shit for like half an hour over where the kitchen scissors were. Where are the scissors? Where are the scissors? And we would all be like, I don't know. I put them there. Where are the scissors? And it's like, they're just scissors, man.
Do you know, that's really interesting you say that, because I hadn't even thought about it in terms of genders. Because when I look back, my dad, he had 3 jobs when I was growing up. You know, it was we rarely saw him.
Yeah.
He was a really busy man. And then, as you say, as he got older, he just got focused on rubbish.
Yeah, so what are you worried about that?
He was in his kitchen once and he had this big metal serving spoon that he'd used the night before. And the next day he was like, anyone see the spoon?
Yeah.
Somebody's stolen the spoon. What? It's a metal spoon.
Use a different spoon. But that's what I mean. These are intelligent men that have been busy their whole lives. People have looked up to them. They've had responsibility. Why are you screaming about a big spoon and a pair of scissors in the kitchen? It's like suddenly their world gets smaller or something. I don't know. And like my dad was like that, but like he has this special knife that he liked to eat his dinner with, and he wanted that knife. He's like, just use another knife. No, I want this knife. I want the special knife. It's like, oh, for goodness sake. It's like they're toddlers again. I have to have the right cup. It's like, oh, please.
My dad was not good with technology. Simply passed this man by.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know how... Are really the same for your dad?
He could make and build anything. He could plumb it put in a kitchen, plumb in a bathroom. He made all my bedroom furniture out of some old fence. He could also do a hip operation on a Alsatian. He was drowning in skills, but technology just took off without him, and he just could not be asked.
That's it there, right there. I think you're right. Couldn't be asked. I remember doing a gig in North London, and on my way back home, I had about 20 missed calls from Dad, and of course I'm like, shit, what's happened now? And I pulled over, right, off the A1, and I called him back, and he's like, I've lost the remote control. And if I pull him up on any kind of stuff like that, he's like, ooh, don't you start criticising. Didn't I teach you how to use a spoon?
He taught you with the big spoon, didn't he?
There was this one time, he was looking for a phone in his house, and the phone is one of those phones that is just made for the older generation.
Oh, my dad had one of those, with massive buttons, and they only receive like 6 incoming texts. You can't send texts, you can only receive them. And it's like a Sky remote, like massive. My dad had one of those because he couldn't work a mobile phone. And I was like, Dad, when it rings, just press the green button and then press the red button to turn it off. You don't do anything else.
Just like I'm having the same conversation with my dad. And he chose that phone because it's massive and he could use the thing. And then he rang me one day and he said, come to the house. The phone's messed up. I went to his house. I said, what's wrong with the phone? He said, if I press 1, it goes on to 2. And I say, you see your big fat finger, how it's pressed on 1?
You're pressing
it's
2.
Also pressing on 2.
We can't make the buttons any bigger. They're already the biggest buttons that exist on a phone in the world. It's like a giant calculator. Well, I remember when I got my first iPhone and I was showing my dad and I was showing him the camera and everything. He thought the internet on the phone was different from the internet that he had on the computer. And I was like, it's the same. It's the same. It's all the internet. It's all the internet.
I don't think my dad knows that the internet is actually a thing. I think he thinks it's like magic or wizardry. Like if I go online...
To be fair, I think that.
I can go online and pull up a song by Jim Reeves, who he absolutely adores, and play it for him on my phone. He'd be like, oh. You like Jim Reeves too? No, Dad. I just got this up for you.
My mum's actually quite good with technology. She plays online games, well, like cards and stuff. She's not got a headset on. She's not playing like Call of Duty. She's not shouting at 10-year-olds, calling them a fucking arsehole or anything. But I remember with Sky TV when they first brought out the pause thing. You know, when you could pause live TV.
Yeah.
And trying to explain to her how that worked. I was like, if the phone rings, you can just pause it and then just go back to it. And she was very reluctant to use it. She seemed to think that she would get stuck in the past. Like, if she paused it and then came back to it 20 minutes later, she would then have to live in the past. She would have to live her life 20 minutes behind everybody else forever. It's like Sky haven't worked out how to pause life.
We were watching TV once, and there was a guy on the screen who had a massive beard, like a full-on Father Christmas beard. He was only about 30. My dad just goes, "Look at that disgusting beard."
Getting arsey as they get older, you see.
Yeah. Would you say in your dad's later years he enjoyed life?
He loved to go to B&Q. If it was a trip to B&Q, he was on it. But sometimes
right.
you'd be there around there waiting for ages, and he'd come out with this like tiny bag of screws, and you'd be like, "Really? Is that really? We needed to do that today, did we?"
That's a very similar thing, because my dad, I remember crossing the road with him, like a busy main road, and then I looked to my right and he wasn't there anymore. I thought, what's happened? I looked back and he'd knelt down in the middle of the road to pick up an elastic band, a rubber band. And he came up and I was like, what? He went, and he put it on his wrist, went, "Could come in handy." It's a rubber band. You can buy 1,000 for probably 50 pence.
Yeah,
so my dad developed this habit of going to car boot sales, flea markets, second-hand shops, literally just buying stuff for the sake of it.
Yeah. Well, my dad definitely didn't buy things for the sake of it. He was very frugal with what he bought, and he would fix everything.
Wow.
But what he did used to do when we were younger is he would pull over at the side of the road and see that someone had thrown, when someone like throws a telly in a hedge in the 80s, yes. He would pull over and put the telly in the boot, take it home, and then take it apart, and he would separate all the little bits into all the right sections. And it'd be like, "What are you going to do with that? You're not going to build a new telly, are you? What are you keeping all that crap for?" But then at the same time, he'd be saving all these things, like old tellies and bits of wood, and like, keep all this. And then you'd go home one day and you'd be like, "Where is all my old, school projects and photos gone?" And like, "Oh, your dad took them to the tip. They were taking up space in the loft." And it's like, "Oh, right, okay, we've got room for all these old tellies though."
Did he ever surprise you with his display of gratitude about something, or a shocking display of ingratitude?
I think it was Father's Day, and they had a decent sized garden. But my mum always liked to sit out in the garden and stuff, and they didn't have table and chairs or anything. So I thought, I'll buy a set of garden furniture for them. That would be nice. They could sit out in the garden, have a cup of tea. So I ordered it online, got it sent to the house. And then I had this like weird email from the company, and they tried to deliver it. And my dad took one look at it and went, "Well, that won't fit in the garage," and sent it away. They charged me 50 quid because he didn't receive it. And I was like, "Well, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Well, it won't fit in the garage." And I was like, "It's not supposed to go in the garage, it's supposed to go in the garden, and then you sit on it." But he didn't, in his head, he didn't want it. He didn't want that in his garden. So
wow. All
the stuff they teach you when you're younger about, like, if somebody gives you a present you don't want, just say thank you and don't be rude. Well, no, don't worry about that. Take it away. I was like...
I remember flying. I took my parents back to Nigeria because I'm that kind of guy. And
Nice.
I said to them, "Do you know what? I'm going to pay for us all to go upper class." My mum and dad said, "We'd rather go economy, but can you give us the money difference?"
No!
Yes! Yes! That's not how this works.
Also, who would rather go economy?
Yeah. "Oh, you know us, we like to live a simple life, but we'll have the money." Was your dad quite affectionate? Is he of a generation that men were quite okay to show their emotions?
Yeah, he wasn't massively affectionate, but he wasn't not affectionate. You could give him a hug, but you would have to initiate it. You would have to go, "We're doing this now."
In fact, my dad did surprise me when he actually told me once, "I love you."
But,
my mum, on the other hand, she was all over it. All over that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she'd never forgiven herself for the chicken incident.
So your parents weren't particularly religious?
No.
Could you sort of talk about anything?
I think so. They're very nice people. There was no hate in them in terms of other people and how they wanted to live their lives. They were very much live and let live.
When you look at your dad and your mum, is there a little bit of you that goes, "I'm turning into them"?
I mean, I've always taken after my dad more than my mum. I love a good documentary, as we've already discussed. He was always watching a documentary.
Yeah.
He wanted to watch ones about sharks or Nazis. Those tended to be the two parameters. Like I was saying, in lockdown, it's made me feel more like them. Like, I'm retired and my world's got a lot smaller, and we just potter around the house worrying about what time you can have a biscuit. Not now! I eat my biscuits at 4! Okay.
These are the rules.
Yes.
I don't think I will turn into my dad, and I never wanted to be a disappointment to him. The only time I think I was a disappointment was when I failed my O-levels. They'd worked so hard to provide for all us kids, and then you come home with a certificate, and they're like, Jesus, how can we tell our friends? How can we look them in the eyes and tell them our son is not just a simpleton, but he has a certificate to prove it? Look at this rubbish. Comedy writing is a very niche profession. What did your dad think about that?
I think for a while he didn't really understand my job when I first started working in TV, because I was working on a lot of shows that he didn't watch and didn't give a shit about. There was lots of panel shows and stuff that was quite rude. I remember taking him to watch Jimmy Carr in one of his tours, and I was sat next to my dad, and suddenly then Jimmy I just forgot. I don't know what I was thinking. And then Jimmy just started to go full Jimmy. And I was just, sat next to my dad, and I was like, oh God, what have I done? But then when I did Have I Got News For You, and that was a show that obviously he watched for a long time, and when I got my name on the credits for that, I think that was when he was like, oh, okay, I kind of get this now, and then this is pretty cool. They were never pushy in terms of you have to go to university. I remember my mum saying, don't have to. Lots of people just get jobs and learn on the job. And I was like, learn on the job? No, thank you. I mean, that's essentially what comedy writing is. You do learn on the job because you're not born knowing how to write for television.
Did your parents have a saying or catchphrase that was their go-to motto? That my dad used to say, 1 warm Guinness a day will make you a strong man.
Well, my dad always used to say, there's cloudy apple juice. Now, my dad thought that I drank too much. Which, he had a point. But also, he didn't really drink much at all. He would drink like an 80s size glass of wine. He's very happy around a 125ml. He nearly keeled over when we took him to the theatre once, and they gave him a 250ml glass of wine. He'd never seen one before in his life, and he was like, holding it like, what's this bucket? They've given me a bucket of wine. So, most people drank too much as far as he was concerned. So if I would go to my parents' house and my mum would be like, oh, do you want a drink? And she'd mean, do you want a glass of wine? And my dad would always go, there's cloudy apple juice. Every time. Every time he would say it to try and get me to not drink a glass of wine. There's cloudy apple juice. And I'd be like, yes, I know there's cloudy apple juice. And to the point where we would say it before he even got a chance to say it. My mum, do you want a drink? Oh, is there any cloudy apple juice? Well, I don't want that. I want a glass of wine. I love the specifics of it as well. Not like there's soft drinks, but just there's cloudy apple juice. Not that weird stuff that looks like piss. Cloudy apple juice. The good stuff.
Even though our dads do have similar traits, they're not quite the same, are they?
No, we don't have the same dad, Stephen, no.
It's been great talking, and you know what? It's given me a little insight into you. Thanks very much, Christine.
It's been brilliant. Thank you. I've had a great time.
So that was Christine Rose, who told us it is acceptable to go on a non-stop car journey from Cornwall to Scotland. Don't get sick, but if you do, you might get the pet's remedy. Bring your imaginary friend and go easy on the cloudy apple juice. Join me next time for more Me, I Blame the Parents, as we delve into what makes them tick and get to know them a little bit better. So, that's old, folks. You've been listening to Me, I Blame the Parents, hosted by me, Stephen K Amos, special guest Christine Rose, produced by Hugh Sington.